Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's been a while since I've done a journal update. I've just had a lot going on, so um, I can't even remember where I were at on the last one, to be honest. I know I were going through a tough period, but anyway, so today's February the 9th. I think it were early January last time I did one. Speaking of February the 9th, happy birthday to my beautiful little sister. Rubbish with ages, hang on, let me think. So I think you're 35 today, so happy birthday. Hope kids are good and stuff. Well, know that they're good. You're absolutely dedicated mum, so, you know, bless you. So anyway, more than likely at some point today I'll be going to see my sister. I've got to go to the doctor's come 8 o'clock, once it gets to 8 o'clock in the morning, because something seriously going on with my stomach, basically. I don't know what it is, but I think in earlier posts I've probably mentioned, I've been back and forth to hospital getting, what do you call it, whatever they call those scans, where they check for cancer, basically, whatever those are called, ultrasound. I've been getting those, and I've been getting, I've had a biopsy when I were expecting my little girl and stuff. Thankfully, all that came back clear, so I've ruled out. It's basically, as far as I'm aware, it's not cancer. But yeah, I need to get to the bottom of what is wrong with me, because my situation with my little girl, I want to see her grow, basically. So I know that at the moment I'm not able to see her because of the situation, but hopefully that's not going to be for much longer. I'm hoping I'm in court in about a week and 3 days or something, so I'm hoping that from that point forward I'm going to be able to at least see my little girl. I'm not going to go into details of my case, but once I know that the case is done, I do plan to talk about it more. Anyway, so try to think of something on the more positive side. So I've been going to Horizons, North Yorkshire Horizons, for my my old habits, because I'm a year clean of smoking cannabis come about 2 weeks time as well. In fact, if you total up before I relapsed, it'd be a year and 3 months. But I had a little blip where I relapsed, so going from there it'd be about a year. So basically, my point about mentioning Horizons is, number one, huge respect to all the staff at Horizons for helping me through this year, basically. Goes me boiler making mad noises. So anyway, I've only got 2 more sessions at Horizons left, which have been postponed because of the other participants' attendance hasn't been hasn't been consistent. So my person that I see, don't know what they call them, has basically postponed it for a couple of weeks. So I think that'll be back on once I've next been to court, because I mentioned, as long as it's not whilst I'm doing my court stuff, that's all good. But I was in to speak to one of the other people. It's not actually part of my group, but he's like, I don't know if he's like some kind of management or what. But I was saying, basically, I'd like to give something back to Horizons for how helpful they've been with me, basically. Although, by the time I'd got into Horizons, I'd pretty much kicked my habit anyway. So I got put in what they call aftercare, which is to prevent people from relapsing, basically. But I needed that. That's what I mean. Like, I did have a small blip of a relapse, so it were perfect, It worked out perfect, really. But yeah, I was saying I'd like to give something back. And I was actually meaning like, a gift or something. But yeah, basically he turned around to me and he said, if I'd like to, I could volunteer. So it's something that I feel I'd be quite good at. Um, in them kind of situations, I've got kind of, okay, I wouldn't say perfect, but, not bad people skills, and I understand, addiction of all kinds. I've had friends with, you name it, every addiction going. Mine's been quite a light addiction compared to that. Well, it's not been light, it's been heavy, but, people see using cannabis as not that much of a big deal, basically, compared to, like, say, I don't know, alcohol or heroin or something. So, in that sense, I've been fortunate with my habits because, I couldn't imagine trying to kick something like, for example, heroin or whatever. But I deal with people like that on a day-to-day basis, really. Or I have done a lot in my younger days. Like, I used to have a lot of friends go down that path. And for a while, I hadn't actually had to deal with it. But being in Horizons, obviously, there's people in that situation. So I have been dealing with it a little bit, like mentally supporting people like that. But yeah, basically, my point is I figured it's a good opportunity for me. I think it gives me something to do in my life in that sense. Like, there's other goals that I have. After going through this court thing, it's made me realise that I want to do something that is, what's the word, like, because I've struggled with this court case, right? Every turn I've gone, I've hit brick walls, right? And I've realised that no matter what they say about the court system being set up for equal rights for both parents, it's not like that at all. And not only that, they claim that the child's rights come above everybody's, which they should, but they don't. They're more in favour of whoever the child lives with. So if the child lives with dad, they'd be more in favour of dad. If the child lives with mum, they'd be more in favour of mum, no matter what is going on in the household. But this is the problem, you see, because this is how you have issues like the Baby P incident and things like that. Like I said, I don't want to go into my case, but I will, at some later stage, explain my case properly. In fact, I've already got videos ready to put out there, at a later date when the time is right, explaining my personal case that I've been through. But long story short of it, I've been shut out of my child's life. It's called parental alienation, for being concerned and worrying about my child's home situation. And because of doing that, I've basically been penalised by my ex-partner. Not only me, but my daughter has. In fact, above me, my daughter is missing out on time with her dad because of this. But anyway, enough about me and my daughter. So basically, it's really opened my eyes up to how backwards the system is, and I feel that situations like that should be criminal rather than, what's the word for it, like family court. Basically, it should be a criminal offence to do that without good evidence. Like, I could understand if I were a raging lunatic, that'd be fair enough, but for caring and being concerned about your child, there should be criminal charges brought towards the parent that has acted in that way. So I plan to pursue that, but I feel that this is a good stepping stone to get to a position where I can do something like that. The guy who offered me the position at Horizons used to work in Broadmoor, which is like a mental institute for the criminally insane. So I think, that will also help open doors, for me, basically. So, yeah, I mean, I'm focusing on one thing at a time. So when I'm going to be doing this Horizon stuff, I'm going to be helping people with their habits and their addictions and overcoming whatever they're going through, whether it's alcohol, whatever, could even be gambling in some cases. Could be what I've gone through. If it's what I've gone through, I totally get that situation 100%. In my case, it's been a difficult ride, especially with all the stress of going to court. In fact, when I was in court, the judge said to me, "I'm surprised you've managed with all the pressure," But the thing is, with my personal habit, I was sick of it a long time before I had a child. So, like, for about a decade, I was sick of just sitting around getting stoned all the time and wasting my life. So when I had my little girl, I remember looking at her and thinking, right, I need to sort my life out. And it took me a bit of time to get into the swing of it because I was still with the mother who was getting stoned all the time, basically. And, obviously, when you're in a situation like that, it's next to impossible. I broke up with the mother. Well, I didn't break up. I walked out on her one day because I couldn't cope with I mean, I didn't realise it at the time, but when I look back, it's, what do they call it? There's a word for it. Emotional abuse, basically, and coercive abuse. And I just couldn't bear it, basically. So I walked out of the relationship. Still there for my little girl at the time. Still am even now, even though I haven't been allowed to contact, But basically, I just couldn't cope with the mother, basically. She was immature, I will say. In fact, when I was going through that, I remember looking, because she has other children, and I remember looking at the younger children and thinking, you're more childish than your children, but that's another story, But basically, so yeah, I've still got that to deal with. That's going to be for years yet. So there's going to be lots of ups and downs with that. I can see it a mile off. But this is one step in the right direction, what I'm about to do. So yeah, with a bit of luck, I'm going to be able to see my little girl. It's going to be limited because it's going to be one of them day centre things, as if I've been the baddie, basically. So, but whatever, if I've got to do it that way, I've got to do it that way. Because I was saying to the person who offered me the position at Horizons, I was saying, like, because he said, well, why have you got to do this? And I said, well, from the other point of view, I'm apparently dangerous. So yeah, he laughed when I said it because I mean, I know I'm not dangerous. Do you know what I mean? Far from it, but whatever, I have no concerns in that sense when it comes to going to this thing. I think that people, tend to show the true colours in these kind of situations. So we'll see how that pans out. And also, it means that I can start building a relationship with my little girl. And I mean, we're supposed to build a parent relationship, which the silly thing is, before I was shut out of my daughter's life, we were communicating and things, even though I was concerned about the situation. we were communicating until my ex just decided, "Oh, bugger off," sort of thing. So yeah, so see how that pans out, because I want to be optimistic about it, basically. I just want to focus on my little girl's future, long story short. So the ball's in my ex's court in that sense. You know, whatever, So basically, my mind's going a bit blank now. So basically, yeah, I've got that to do. Obviously, there's going to be another court hearing. I'm still kind of new to the system, so I'm assuming, because I got something saying that something about adjourning, and I'm assuming what they must mean is, whilst we're going through this stage, the court case will be adjourned until after then. But there's a few things I need to state when I'm there. Again, I'm trying not to go into my case here, but I am going to mention this. One being, I've never been allowed to be involved with, for example, my daughter's healthcare or her education, so I need to bring them points up. And other little things as well come into that. But I mean, stressful, it's been stressful. And because I've been kicking my habit at the same time, it's made it real difficult at times. But I've got through it. Feel like I've come out the other side a much better person, a stronger person, and a more focused person. I'm going to, at some point soon, I'm going to be getting a new vehicle. And I plan to see more of the country and things like that. And when I'm finally allowed to actually have my daughter come and see me properly, I plan to take her around the country and explore the country with her. I've recently, I've recently developed an interest. I've had the interest since I was a child. I've just never acted on it. But when I've mentioned this to my Horizons person too, when I was a child, I used to get all the Lego castle stuff. So because of that, I've always had like an interest in castles and stuff, and there's been odd ones that I've visited around the country, but one day I stumbled upon one completely by accident. I was actually lost when I was driving when I come across it, and it looked amazing. And when I got home, I googled how many castles are in this country, and I think it were about 4,000 roughly, and then another 4,000 in like Scotland and Wales and stuff. So altogether, you're talking like 12,000 castles on one island, that are still standing. I mean, some of them are ruins, obviously, and things like that, but like they're still there. So that's my plan, really. Is I want to build a bit of a camper van up and start going around the country and viewing all these historical sites, basically. So that's like something that I plan to do in the future. And if my daughter shares that interest, I'll take her all over to do that, I mean, she might not have an interest in it, in which case I'll just do it on my own. Plus, I bought some land up in Scotland that I haven't even visited yet, so I plan to go up there and spend a bit of time at my land and just be the lord of the glen when I'm up there. And just thought I'd do an update. So happy birthday to my sister, and peace and one love, everybody, and bless.